Hello everybody. Today we are going to be talking about descriptive essays and how I can help you guys better your writing, especially when it comes to descriptive writing. And it's a skill. It's a skill that you learn with a lot of practice, and you know, um, even if you don't feel so good about your writing, that doesn't mean that you're not a writer. That doesn't mean that you can't, build yourself and develop the skill. Okay, so today we're going to be expanding a little bit on our previous discussion on descriptive writing. So you can refer back to that video if you want a foundation. For this lesson particularly, right, I'm going to be giving you guys a task due for the 13th of April. And it's the reason why I gave you the descriptive paragraphs before was to get in the habit of writing descriptively. So that was just a practice. But this will count for marks for the term. Okay, so let's look at a few things that we spoke about before. I'm going to go through the rubric, what I need from you guys, and how we can achieve those goals. We're also going to look at some sample essays. All right, so in your essay, okay, one thing you need to remember is that it's a descriptive essay. So you're not going to be using words like that you use every day. For example, the word very. Okay, if you want to say something is very beautiful, instead of saying very beautiful, you could say it's gorgeous. If you want to say that something is very big, you can say it's massive. Very boring, you can say dull. Very bright, luminous. Very busy, swamped. Very afraid, fearful. Okay, so eliminate the word very from your writing. And I've given you guys so many awesome alternatives for the word very, and the adjective next to it, right? So as I was discussing now, just say you want to say something is very complete or very full, you can say it's comprehensive. And those are the kind of words I want to see in your writing. You may absolutely borrow those words from these slides that I'm making you. Okay, I'm just minimizing my screen so that it looks more neater. Okay, moving on. So these are just more examples of how you can use very in your writing, but without using the word very. So if you want to say that someone is open, you can say they are transparent. If something is very painful, it's excruciating. And I've added one more slide. So, really go into that, explore it, and try to use these new words. And, when you use them in your writing, you're not going to forget it. And you'll soon be using them within your talking, when you talk every day. And how cool that be, that you get to sound professional and people will take you more seriously because you're talking with an air of knowledge, right? Okay, so here's a few tips for when you actually write your descriptive paragraphs. First of all, every time you want to start a new, every time you want to say something new, right? When you start writing about a new place, when you start talking about a different time, when you talk about a new person, every time someone speaks, or every time you start a new topic, you start a new paragraph, right? So there's no like set limit to how long or short a paragraph can be, but these are your keynotes to know when to start a new paragraph. Okay. All right. So let's go into how to proofread your essay. When you proofread your work, you look for errors and you correct them, right? First of all, you need to have capital letters and conjunctions. So we, the last time in my video, we spoke about caps, right? Every time you write an essay, you write first draft first. You need to know that you need capital letters and conjunctions. U stands for understanding. Read through your sentences. Does your essay make sense? That is like one of the most important thing to an essay, because You can use high words and, you know, creative language, but if your essay is not making sense, if one idea is not linking to the next, then, you know, it's not enjoyable to read. P stands for punctuation. Are you using full stops, commas, quotation marks? Every time someone talks, you need to use quotation marks. Are you using correct spelling? And for spelling, there shouldn't be a problem because now you guys have autocorrect. So if you are having a problem with spelling, then you need to check that your autocorrect is working. Okay, and lastly, you need to use a thesaurus to find creative alternatives for everyday words, verbs, and adjectives. So instead of saying he walked to the shop, tell me how he walked to the shop. Did he lunge forward creepily? Did he sneak to the shop? Right? How did he do the action? Okay. So we're going to look at an essay, and we're going to analyze this essay. All right, this is the essay that I sent you guys on WhatsApp. It's a very basic descriptive essay, and we're going to identify all the figures of speech. Okay, the rain was hitting me in the face as I ran to the bus. This was one of the topics I gave you guys. I slept at the bus stop all night. The cold from the metal seats traveled to my bones until they began aching. From a distance, I saw a blinding light approaching. It was the bus. This was my chance. I would take the bus and escape to the promised land. I needed to make myself impossible to find. I snatched my backpack and made a run for it. The rain was hitting me in the face as I ran to the bus. Sharp daggers that fell from the sky. The bus halted to a stop and released angry exhaust fumes. The bus doors flew open to reveal a grumpy bus driver whose eyes looked like they had not seen sleep in days. "It's 5 cents to Denham," he mumbled impatiently. I dug my fingers deep into my pockets to reach for the last few pennies I had saved. I hastily dropped the 5 cents into his palm as to conceal the black grime growing under my nails. The bus was deserted. It was me and him. With a dramatic jolt, the bus started up again. As much as I tried to keeping them open, my eyes couldn't sleep. I needed the rest. The journey ahead was a dangerous one. Okay, slight change of scenery here. So guys, let's analyze this. Let's look for where I'm using descriptions, where I am using figures of speech and alternative verb choices. I slept at the bus all night. The cold of the metal seat traveled to my bones until they began aching. So this is a descriptive line because it's saying that I can literally picture, right, and I can feel how cold the surrounding area was, as well as the metal seats, because I'm saying that my bones began aching. Okay, from a distance I saw blinding light. Blinding, right, that's another descriptive word. I'm explaining what kind of light is approaching, right? This was my chance. I would take the bus and escape to the promised land. I needed to make myself impossible to find. Also descriptive words, you know, we're explaining the situation a little bit more. I snatched my backpack and made a run for it. The rain was hitting me in the face as I went to the bus. Sharp daggers that fell from the sky. Ooh, this is a figure of speech. It is a metaphor, right? Because we are comparing the rain to sharp daggers that are falling from the sky, right? Does it mean that the rain was sharp knives? Did it kill me? No, but it felt very harsh. That is the comparison we're making. The bus halted to a stop and released angry exhaust fumes. Here is another figure of speech personification, because we are giving the human quality of being angry to the bus, right? Does it mean that the bus is actually angry? It actually means that, you know, maybe the bus driver was annoyed that he had to pick up someone so late at night, okay, or so early in the morning. The bus doors flew open to reveal a grumpy bus driver whose eyes looked like they're not they'd not seen sleep in days. Okay, so here there's a simile here, all right? We are giving a comparison to how his eyes looked, all right? And can you guys see how I'm making breaks in the paragraphs? I'm not making this a huge one chunk paragraph. I'm breaking up the paragraphs, and I break up the paragraph every time I have something new to say, every time the topic changes, every time there's a change of thought, right? So for example, in this line here, it says where the person is talking. Every time someone talks, you give that conversation its separate paragraph. It's 5 cents to Denlam, he mumbled impatiently. I could have said that he said impatiently, okay? But instead I said he mumbled, right? So a better choice of a verb. Impatiently, that is an adverb, right? How did he mumble? Oops. And because that's the end of the thought, we move on to the next paragraph. I dug my fingers deep into my pockets to reach for the last few pennies I had saved. I hastily dropped the 5 cents into his palm as to conceal the black grime growing under my nails. So the word hastily is also telling, it's an adverb. It's also explaining to me how did I do the action, all right? I could have said I hastily put, but I used the word dropped, which is a better verb choice. As to conceal the black grime growing under my nails. Now this sentence says a lot, because this sentence tells me that tells the reader that I'm probably very poor, right? Why do I have black grime? Do I not shower? Do I not have access to water? The bus was deserted. Deserted is another excellent adjective. It's an adjective because it's describing a situation, right? I could have said the bus was empty, but I used an interesting adjective. It was me and him. With a dramatic jolt, the bus started up again. So this is an interesting two-word here, a dramatic jolt. First of all, dramatic tells me how the bus started up, so it's an adjective. Jolt is a verb, all right? So instead of saying the bus started moving again, I gave it an interesting verb. As much as I tried keeping them open, my eyes caught sleep. I needed to rest. The journey ahead was a dangerous one. So here, I'm creating a scene of suspense, an ominous scene, right? We know something, challenges and maybe scary scenarios are going to happen. And, give me suspense when you are writing your essays. I love suspense. Okay, another tip is avoid using the word and too many times, right? So if you use the word and in a sentence, keep it short. All right. If you look at my my sentences here, right? Let's look at these two sentences. I have not used the word and too many times. In fact, if you need to end a sentence, end it and start a new sentence, but don't keep joining sentences with and. So the bus halted to a stop and released angry exhaust fumes. I could have said, and the bus doors flew open, blah, 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 but I ended my sentence, right? Okay, so this is another essay. This essay is slightly more advanced. So, it's not a beginner essay. It's an essay where, a student would get at least 98% if I was marking it. So, if you can't write on this level, it's fine, right? But what I'm looking for is that you have put in the effort. Obviously, aim at writing on this level. So this essay is called The Trophy. And see how this person, we've just given them the topic called The Trophy. So they could have thought of so many things to do with trophies and winning trophies. Okay, so let's see what this person thinks about. Okay, in the 10-foot enclosure, a lifeless form of the impala had been drugged just enough to make the lioness drowsy. The smell was faintly foreign as she approached the carcass, but she hadn't eaten for days, and her self-control was wearing thin. The middle-aged man entered the enclosure while she was feeding. She looked up warily, ears back, but did not get to her feet. For a second, Blue Eyes met Ochre. He was less than 10 feet away. The shot shattered the bush-felled piece like a lightning bolt. He swore and shot again, this time only succeeding in hitting her in the hindquarters as she tried to flee. It was the electric fence that got her in the end, as the third shot rang out. The wire belt bit into her flesh, and she flung herself against it, the last bullet piercing her already lifeless heart. The hunter bends lovingly to stroke the golden fur of the mangled body before him. The camera shutter snaps boastfully under the perfect blue sky as the man lifts the beast's head into the picture, so those back home can marvel at his brave achievements. The lioness's mounted head is transported back to Germany to be mounted with pride on the killer's suburban wall. She is destined to gaze regally across the monotonous white space of the opposite wall. The floral-patterned carpet is her acacia-strewn savanna, the glowing bulb in its orange-fringed shade, the African sun, with none of its warmth. The room is 10 feet long, a 10-foot tomb. All right, so let's break this down and analyze. In the 10-foot enclosure, first of all, the word enclosure, right? We could have said, we could have said the zoo, we could have said a cage, but we use a very interesting noun here. The lifeless form of an impala had been dragged in. So here it's interesting because we're explaining what kind of animal was dragged in. We know that it's dead, right? The words lifeless and form are both adjectives, which explains the impala. And instead of saying brought in, they use the word dragged, the verb dragged. And that is really awesome because in our minds, we can literally see this impala being dragged in. Its body is limp and lifeless, drugged. Okay, so it's been given some medicine, just enough to make the lioness drowsy. So here we know that these people have drugged the impala to make the lioness weak and drowsy because they have an agenda. The smell was faintly foreign as she approached the carcass. So just these two words tell you that something is wrong in the situation. The lioness smells the food, but it doesn't feel normal, right? But she approaches it anyway. The carcass, can you see how we're not repeating the same thing? We're not repeating the word impala over and over again, right? We're using the word carcass. Carcass means a dead body. But she hadn't eaten for days and her self-control was wearing thin. Wow. Okay, so this is a beautiful description because here we're implying that the people did not feed her, all right? And she didn't have control over her hunger, right? Her self-control was wearing thin. And this is an example of personification, all right? Because we're giving her self-control, which is an emotion, right? It was wearing thin. It was coming to a point where she couldn't make use of that skill. The middle-aged man entered the enclosure while she was feeding. She looked up warily, ears back, but did not get to her feet. So here again, we're explaining what kind of person was this man, right? So it's an adjective. He was middle-aged. He entered the enclosure while she was feeding. She looked up warily. How did she look at him? Again, adverb. Ears back. When her ears are back, we know that she's timid, right? She's not going to attack because she doesn't have energy, but did not get to her feet. For a second, Blue Eyes met ochre. Ochre is like a sandy, natural, earthy color. All right, can you see how we are making use of the sentence to show that, you know, she wants to attack him, and they were looking at each other in the eye, sizing one another up. He is less than 10 feet away. That is also showing me that, you know, how close he is and how easy it would be for her to kill him. So we're not saying it directly. We're not using words like he is so close she could kill him anytime, but we're making a subtle indication to that. Okay, next paragraph. The shot shattered the bush-felled piece like a lightning bolt. This is, again, a simile, all right, because we are comparing the shot to a lightning bolt. And the word shattered, that is our verb there. It's amazing how this person used that verb in that context. He swore and shot again. That means that he missed the first time. This time only succeeding in hitting her in the hind corners as she tried to flee. So, you know, she basically started attacking him, or started pouncing toward him, and he shot her, and obviously she started to flee. And can you see how we use an alternative verb? Instead of saying running away, we use the word flee. It was the electric fence that got her in the end, as the third shot rang out. Okay, quite graphic, eh? We can see exactly what is happening in this scenario. The wire bit into her flesh as she flung herself against it. Another verb choice, the word bit, right? And we're using personification here. We're giving the wire a human quality of biting. She flung herself against it. Imagine a lioness like running at such a high speed and just, you know, bumping into this wire and getting bitten by the wire, right? So the word flung really shows you how at what speed she was running at, and how she didn't see the wire as an obstruction. The last bullet piercing her already lifeless heart. Wow, look at that word, guys, piercing. Piercing is such an awesome verb choice there. And lifeless is an adjective. The hunter bends lovingly to stroke the golden fur of the mangled body before him. This is, you know, this line here shows us how inhumane the hunter is. All right, he doesn't care about the life. He just cares to show off his achievement. Therefore, the title is called trophy, because that's his trophy in the end. Okay, mangled means something that's, you know, really injured and wounded. Okay. Also bends lovingly. This is an adverb to show how he done the action. The camera shutter snaps boastfully under the perfect blue sky as the man lifts the beast's head into the picture. This again is personification. The camera shutter snaps boastfully. We are saying we're giving the camera a human quality of being boastful. Here we're basically meaning that, you know, the man was extremely proud of himself for killing a lioness, so that those back home can marvel at his brave achievement. When we marvel at something, we are amazed at it. We really, you know, congratulate someone, we're shocked at their achievement, and that is a verb choice. Very interesting verb choice. So guys, if you are having trouble using an interesting verb, just go on the internet, go to a thesaurus. A thesaurus is a place where you find better words for everyday words. The lioness's mounted head is transported back to Germany to be mounted with pride on the killer's suburban wall. She is destined to gaze regally across the monotonous white space of the opposite wall. This is amazing because it shows what her destination is at the end, right? The floral patterned carpet is her acacia-strewn savannah. Wow. Okay, so this entire few sentences here is a metaphor. All right, why? Because we are comparing the carpet, right, to be like her home. Back home she had you know, the savannah, the grass. The glowing bulb in its orange fringe shade the African sun. Here again, using a metaphor to describe how the bulb by the ceiling, right, reminds her of the African sun with none of its warmth. Here again, doesn't have the warmth of home, right? She's stolen. She is, being killed. The room is 10 feet long, a 10 feet tomb. A tomb is, where they put mummies in, right? And animals or people they would like to preserve. And I think, guys, this is a beautiful essay because it's showing us how, people think that killing and by doing atrocious things, that's actually, a great achievement. But it's not an achievement at all because, while you are amazed by something and humans can take pleasure from killing animals, it's not so great for the animals themselves. So this is a perfect example of a descriptive essay because can you see how we've created a picture of exactly what happened and exactly why the situation is so devastating and uncalled for. Okay, so lastly, guys, you need to create a mind map for me, a first draft, and you're going to proofread your first draft. So write your ideas in the mind map and go wild, go free. For each, in your mind map, write about what you will be writing in each paragraph. Okay, remember we have a paragraph change every time a topic changes, the mood changes. And look for capital letters, conjunctions, understanding punctuation and spelling. Also look for interesting verbs and adjective choices. Okay, and all the best with that. Have fun.